Hello and welcome to another video. So we're in Master, how fun is that? We did Memeing Pirate last time, and now we have a Shadow deck that only runs up to 3 in cost. Deck has actually worked surprisingly well, you know, being a heavy aggro and sticky variant. So it's not too bad. It's definitely not, you know, any aggro Shadow or mid-range Shadow, but it's not a half bad Shadow deck. So if you're looking for something of a reasonably low cost and something that can kind of just perform, then this isn't too bad. I mean, it's not going to get you from AA to Master, but it'll definitely give you some fun plays. Hopefully I can show that in these games. If not, you can check out the stream where I ran this deck for a bit and it did quite well. Plus, since you're running such low cost things, you can pretty much dump anything for a 1-drop, which is good. You know, you could probably also run goblins if you want to add more 1-drops. There's plenty of ways to improve this deck. Well, not so much improve, more like adjust. You're going to more adjust this deck to your style, which is what you want. Alright, so I don't know how I'm going to go against this sword, because I'm guessing it's going to be control, which can hit this deck pretty hard if I don't have an alright start. But this deck doesn't really tend to run out of steam too much. I mean, the few games I've played with it, I think I had it run out of steam once. Every other game has actually been breaking pretty even overall with how much board presence and control I have. Our Tempest work great in mirror matches as well. I've had great success with that, so it's really worth kind of playing at this stage. And because you're not running Phantom Howl or Cerberus, you're not really worrying about shadows, so the only things that really take a benefit from that is Foul Tempest and the Storm Follower. So that's actually really easy to work around. Alright. Bone Chimera is actually really good. You know, getting that double bone skeletons out and then using something like Catacomb would be really good. I don't have it unfortunately at the moment, but if I can draw into Catacomb, I can set up an amazing board. Fortunately, they do have Gwaine. They actually have a really nice hand against this deck. The one disadvantage I have, anything that can, you know, beat my board down and I don't be able to play enough, it really becomes a problem. Okay. Go Necro Rabbit. Plus Evolve. Into Skeleton Fighter. Trade. And draw. Try and get some more into my hand. Alright. So I'm a bit worried about the whole fact that Gwaine come down there with 3 cards, meaning they got at least a 2 to 3 boost, I would say, judging by what could be in their hand. 3 Luminous Mage. It's actually not too bad. I mean, with that trade, I can easily clear it with Foul Tempest, and then play off that. I actually don't mind too much, so... I am being extremely aggressive with these evolves, and there is a reason for that, mainly because with this deck, evolving for damage is more important, so anywhere you can get even just 1 damage like that in is quite good. Plus, having a 3/4 minion that sticks to the board and gains me a shadow is a huge advantage, meaning they pretty much have to be forced to clear, which isn't bad for me. The only problem now is I need a way to get past that, and that's going to be really difficult. Fortunately, I do have Soul Conversion, which gives me at least a chance to draw into something. I mean, like, what am I going to draw into, though? That's the question. Ooh, that's actually not too bad at all. Soul Squasher creates a really nice trade there. That's one of the only other few cards that take advantage of the fact that you can do that. And if we can drop Prince of Catacomb along with Shadow Reaper, we might be looking at a really nice board. Trade off 1, drop Shadow Reaper, drop Prince of Catacomb, set the board up for next turn. Kind of what we're looking at with this play. But you can see how interesting this deck is. I mean, I went from being on the back foot really heavily to actually having a decent board presence and a plan for next setup. What you really want to aim for. And they literally just did my job for me. How good is that? I actually might set up a Tendon of the Night instead of Bone. just because I get the extra on the Shadow Reaper and Attendant of the Night is its own summon, so if they kill it off, I'm going to get a 4/4 and then a Skeleton, I think. I think that's the order that they'll summon, which is really good. This way I can guarantee 8 damage, even with a full board clear. And at worst, well, that's at the worst case. The worst case is I have 8 damage on board, which looks like what they're going to do to me, which is fine. There we go. We trade 2, and we get 6 damage to face, and a draw off that if that gets killed. This actually makes things very interesting, because even an Albert play here is going to put them at risk. Alright, that's fair. So they're going to get that for 0. Good. They can't easily trade with this, which is awesome, without Albert. Fortunately, Albert still can't kill it. And that is actually game. Even without this, it would have been game. The 4 damage I get from the Lich is just enough to pull a game ahead. So that was actually really well. Surprisingly, these Mimi decks in Master are working quite well, I suppose, because most people aren't taking Master that seriously, but I quite enjoy it. So we'll give this deck another shot. We've still got time to do that, so why not? I was a bit worried this game would have drawn out a lot longer, but it didn't, so that's good. Alright, summon Pegasus. That's pretty cool. Alright. Shadow on Shadow mirror match. It's going to depend on who can aggro faster, I guess. Which in this case is actually probably going to be me. If I can just draw into a 1-drop quicker than them, I should nearly be able to set up for a triple. Be nice. That's kind of unfortunate, so I'm going to rely on drawing a 1-drop. Nope, and I didn't get it. Okay. So, now we've got to work out what we're going to do next. So, we're probably going to go with the Skull Cradle, just because it's a solid draw. Although, now it doesn't threaten, which makes it more difficult on me, but still is a draw, so we are going to take that. Otherwise, next we're going to play Bone Chimera, set up for a double, then play Prince of Catacomb. But they've out-aggroed me really heavily. Great. Now I really need something good here. Because even with Bone Chimera, they're going to easily clear what I've got here. The only advantage is it kind of sets up in case I can get a Foul Tempest in hand, meaning I should nearly be able to go for a full board clear. That is one way to deal with this. It's just going to be interesting to see how this goes in the long run. I mean, if they can Prince of Catacomb again, I'm in some trouble. And now that's actually become a real hassle to deal with. Alright. Not great fun, but I guess that's kind of serviceable. We'll get rid of that. We'll get rid of this. And we'll start to limit the board a little bit, I guess. Alright. This may work out okay. I mean, doing some okay cards here. Just gotta hold out long enough. If I can get the enhanced 7 on that, maybe I would put up a big enough board. I'm just gotta be careful about taking too much damage. That's where I'm gonna run into real problems here. So, I really need to work out a good way to deal with this. I mean, the Lesser Mummy's going to have Storm, which is fine if I ever want to play it. I can actually almost go double Lesser Mummy, which actually might be my next play if I want to deal enough damage to the board. Prince of Catacombs has now created a problem. I suppose the only bonus is Killing off that Prince of Catacombs now isn't so bad because they're going to burn a skeleton. They're not going to get full advantage out of it. Let's see what they decide to do. Okay, so Foul Tempest could end quite interestingly. But we didn't get it, unfortunately. Gonna have to at least try and limit the board a little bit. Alright, the more things I can take off this board, the better. Alright, so I'm a little worried about that. I mean, we've got an okay board. The damage they can deal is going to be pretty crazy though. The amount of skeletons they can summon isn't going to be fun. They're probably going to maybe evolve and trade though, which could actually work in my favor. Wait and see where they decide to go about this. The Foul Tempest would actually be really good. I mean, I can't use it to its fullest, but it would get me something, which is nice. Alright, so they end up evolving that one. They can go for the 1 extra damage. So Foul Tempest now would actually be pretty much perfect. We still don't draw into it, so that's actually not good at all. Little Soul Squasher plus the Evolve gets a good trade. Right into that. Probably should have played the Shadow Reaper first. And Zombie Party's setup next turn should be good as long as they don't have something insane in their hand. Alright, so I was a little worried about this board, but it turns out not to be too bad. I mean, if I can just draw into a couple more things, we should be able to set up enough that this Shadow can't really do much. Attendant of the Night is kind of a dead draw right now, but I can always use Soul Conversion on it to get its full advantage. That's probably how I'm going to go about it, unless I end up using it for something else. And Zombie Party's 3 damage will easily take care of the Skeleton Fighter. Actually, we might do this differently, so I can get full advantage out of this. Actually, I kind of forgot about that. Whoops. I didn't even realize that that one was still ready to summon another skeleton. Wow. That's risky. At least there's not much they can do outside of maybe Foul Tempest themselves. That's about the only threat they've got left against me. About the only way I'm going to be at risk here. Which is fine. I mean, I've still got the Attendant, Dark Conjurer, and the Soul Conversion. And the Attendant Soul Conversion combo is a really nice setup. So if I have to pull that off, I will. But we just have to wait and see. And there we go, they left. Alright. That ran a little bit longer than I planned, but it's still not too bad at all. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button and subscribe. You can find the deck list to this deck in the description. It is really interesting, only going to 3 in the cost spectrum. That was the limit. That is the only reason I'm not running anything above it. Obviously, you could probably go full aggro and improve it, but this is actually a really fun deck just to mess around with. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.